Hello.
We are recording. Welcome to Put Your Phone Down podcast. Y'all, I got a special guest. I have a very, very special guest for the listeners. Okay, we are celebrating 420. Okay, and we also are celebrating a lot of other informative things, but 420 is something that I think we should all experience at some point in our lives. The good and some educational information. So I got my homegirl Lisa on the line with us. Lisa,
Hey, hey.
thank you for hopping on the podcast. You are my first guest of 2023. So
I feel honored.
yes, I start off giving my guests their roses, and you have always been a sweetheart from day one. We've known each other for a long time. Big ups to our girl Leak, and it's like every time you would come around, you was just chill, you know. So I mean, you've always been consistent in that personality. Greeted me with a smile and a hug, and you know, you just have an awesome spirit on you. So um, I'm glad to have you on here, and we've already discussed if giggling is too much. This might not make it.
I think we can make it. At least I know I can make it.
Well, we're going to try. We definitely, like I said, so we have decided to start early with the 420 events. But also we just kind of want to put a flip side to 420. And you and I were talking earlier, which you know I learned so much from you. And I'm going to start off with, can you tell me a little bit about your background, you know, your health, and what made you get into this awesome business that you have coming towards the future, very near future. But can you tell me just about what has you at this place right now, about your business?
Okay. Well, first off, the business kind of actually, it's a organization in the making, and I kind of started this organization up maybe going on 4 or 5 years ago. Just kind of getting it off the ground, and just like anything else, you kind of have to baby it, nurture it, and when you're doing it by yourself and you don't have uh, any other people that's involved in helping you start up this organization, because you're looking for more people that are like yourself, which means that I have a autoimmune disease, lupus slash mixed connective tissue disease. I hate trying to explain what mixed connective tissue disease is, but it's basically when you look it up. Basically, it's an abundance of different types of autoimmunes that are kind of wrapped into one, if that makes any sense. So, like, I have lupus, and then I have rheumatoid arthritis, and then I have some other things that's going on. It's just so much that, at times I don't remember it all. But in short, I just tell people I have lupus because I could explain that better. And basically, the organization came from that, because what I found is that a lot of people that's like myself, they don't get hurt because on the outside we look perfectly fine, and anybody that's a lupus warrior would know and understand that, on some days we can look perfectly fine on the outside, but on the inside, that's a total different story. If we could just kind of like split ourselves open so you could see what was going on in the inside, you would be like, oh my God, you look nothing like how you look on the outside as you do on the inside. So basically, the organization is just to basically help encourage other people that are like myself or have other autoimmune deficiencies, like lupus, that's pretty much going through, some things in their life. And I'm quite sure you probably go with, a little depression, uh, a bit of everything, emotional roller coaster, as well as, being sick too. You just never know, because this is something that it's no time frame of when you're gonna be sick, or when it's you're gonna have these emotions because you're sick, or maybe you've had your annual going to the doctor and you had to get labs and your labs weren't what you anticipated, and on top of that you might have found out you got something else that's going on. So it's like an ongoing battle that you're fighting with yourself.
And I can understand it's like you said, looking at you, and of course, pictures will be posted. You this girl is bad to the bone, okay? So it's like she carries it well. But when we talk about your organization, and I wanted to blend that in and saying we celebrating 420 early because with your organization, it ties in with what I think you feel helps you throughout the day. And I want to blend that in with the name of your organization. So can you tell our listeners the name of your organization? And guys, listen, she said at the beginning it's starting off, but I think that this is such a fantastic idea already. If you guys know in any direction and want to jump on board, her information, she's going to let you know. But back to this, can you just tell us the name of your organization and what you feel helps you throughout your pain that you deal with on a daily basis?
My organization is Spoons for Life. Spoons for Life is originated from a metaphor that I saw online when I first got diagnosed with lupus, and when I was kind of like trying to get some more information off of, off the illness that I had or what have you. And I kept seeing this spoonies this and spoons that. And basically, what it is just a metaphor of, it keeps tracks of how many. Well, you start off with like maybe 12 spoons or so throughout the day, and basically you kind of like, I guess, determine how many spoons you're going to use to do each activities, whether it's to, it may take you like 2 or 3 spoons to get out of bed. It may take you about 5 spoons to just take a shower. And this is basically based off of, I guess, your pain and your energy levels. So that's how the spoons measure off. And what I was reading is that there were a lot of, if you look at, what people were using their spoons for, it was just basically for like everyday basic stuff. And it was like, gee, these people, do the same thing every day. And it's like I kept reading the same thing. Like, I used my spoons for, the basic things, getting up out of bed, taking a shower, cooking, and so forth and so forth. But nobody is doing anything extra, like any extra curricular activities that you would think that you would find or fit into that category. But because you're using so many of your spoons just to, you know bathe yourself or cook or whatever, it may take a lot. So you have no more energy, and you have no uh you've used pretty much all your energy, your spoons, to do other things that are more important. So I said, well, why not use your spoons to be in the kitchen while you're cooking, and including cannabis, so that you can use less spoons for your everyday activities, in as far as like, your normal, hygiene activities, for something that's a little bit more pleasurable.
So spoons are pretty much like the reward you give yourself. Like you set out a certain amount of spoons throughout the day, um, and these are your rewards. Like, okay, if I got 5 spoons, and that was a big deal to get out of bed. Would you consider this more like a reward for yourself to say, at least I did something? Is that what we're looking at for spoons?
No, not necessarily a reward. It's more so like energy. So
Okay.
like it's more like say for instance, if you were a charged battery and you used a lot of your, like just like our phones, and some phones, we got a million apps on our phones or whatever, but some apps pull more energy than other apps. Maybe that'll be a little bit, it could explain it a little bit more from, the everybody's point of view, that everybody can kind of, get an idea of where I'm coming from with spoons. It's just like a cell phone having all these apps. One app may pull more energy or pull more battery juice from your phone than any other apps that you may have. So what happens if you have too many apps, or you're using an app that's pulling more battery juice, it's going to make your battery in your phone to eventually, start, dying off, faster, because this particular app or apps are using the majority of your battery juice. It's the same thing as the spoon. So if you're using most of your energy, which would equivalent to for how many spoons that you would have to use just to do that particular thing, is kind of measured off like that, if that makes any sense.
It definitely does. And I think that it shows, like you said, the pain that you can be in just throughout the day. So we go back a little bit of what you said helps you and throughout the day, because I think this is how a lot of people are getting through who deal with joint pain, not even on the same level as you, is you started adding CBD oils to your food. And I want to know, not that nothing else wasn't important, says you. Okay.
No,
we just,
no.
well, I want to know, like, when you got on there and you started whipping it up in the kitchen, were you sharing the love with that, and what was the reaction from people who probably weren't in joint pain when you started, doing the little kitchen action?
Well, my thing was is that, before I had got sick and with this, autoimmune disease, I had plans and I had goals of the things that I was trying to do. Me being in the kitchen was not one of them. Actually, I kind of had to like switch gears, and I started using cannabis for my for as a pain relief, opposed to using the different type of medications that I was taking over the counter. Well, not over the counter, but yeah, I was taking some over the counter before my doctor was prescribing medication for the pain. But the thing is, um, I wasn't feeling good after taking these type of pain medications that was making me feel like I was just a zombie, or either I was in bed. And it just really made me, depressed, because it's like I couldn't do the things that I wanted to do. I mean, yeah, it took away the pain. However, it still had me feeling like a zombie, like I couldn't do anything. And I didn't like the idea of me just sitting in bed, feeling like a vegetable. So I felt like, I started using my time wisely by researching different things that I could do to help heal myself, rather than wait for the doctors to give me education or give me information on how to, you know, I guess, better myself. But then again, a lot of doctors, what I've been noticing is that doctors will not give you the information holistically, or either on a different level, opposed from them giving, medicine and their ideas of what they think would do you better, do you good. Oh, I lost you. Okay, I'm back. Um, but yeah, I decided to, dibble and dab a little bit because everybody was like, you know what, if you start taking cannabis, it'll make you feel better. A lot of people with lupus and stuff say they use it for pain and they're fine, it's that and the third. But my thing was that I didn't want to do the cannabis because I had, like I said from the beginning, I had plans. I had just gotten my license for being a phlebotomist, and I was, having hopes that, hey, I could, need this job. I need to be clean, in order to get the job or whatever. But then it just, kind of spiraled out as time went on. I could never get a hang of when I was going to get sick, or pinpoint when I was going to get sick or whatever. So I just said, forget it. I went ahead and tried some cannabis. The first thing that I did try, I did smoke a blunt, and I'm just like, not the whole blunt, but a half a blunt, and I was really surprised at how it made me feel. I was like, oh my God, I don't feel any pain, and it does make me feel like I still have a, a youth for myself to be able to get up and do things for myself, even though that it gives you that that sense of that high feeling, and a lot of people may feel like they can't do a lot of things, but I was able to still function, with being a little elevated from smoking the blunt.
Now I need to know because, um, you know, how do you? That's a good point. How do you function? Like, okay, you didn't smoke all of it, but still enough is all right, and you feeling good. It's like you got your body back. So it's like, how do you? I don't, girl. Look, I just.
Like, are you trying to say determine how do I determine basically how to still be able to function during smoking or in consuming cannabis?
Yes, because I already told you that where this interview might go. I'm right in the middle of being. I'm in the middle of being so serious, and then all of a sudden, and this ain't even a funny conversation. That's the thing. It's nothing funny about it. So
But you're
okay,
feeling good, so that's
girl,
and how you feel it is exactly what I got hooked on, because it kind of brought back a little piece of me that
got you.
I missed before I got sick. I miss
Okay,
that old me. You know.
that all right, and thank you for putting me back on track because that's what I was trying to say. Like, you kind of getting the best of both worlds if you look at it like that. You got something to make you feel like like you can still make your errands, and but I guess my part is, um you feel like I said, you got the best of both worlds, but man, like you ain't laughing at everything, like everything is still cool in your world, or what? Like,
You know what?
like, I
That
guess
was
I'm
the
trying to figure that
thing.
one out.
Well, you know what it is what I've noticed is that it's the different strands. And once I learned not just, okay, well, anybody can, consume cannabis and, and get that high feeling or whatever and then take away. But for me, I started learning the different strands, and I was like, oh, okay, so this strand does this, that strand does that. And then once I kind of got the knowledge of learning and self teaching myself about the different strands of cannabis, uh, what I started doing was using the different strands for different situations that I guess I could say that I needed it for. Like, say, for instance, if I needed to run errands, then I would take something like a sativa. The sativa is, it's kind of like you're happy,
Mm-hmm.
but you're still able to function and get things done, but you're not feeling the pain and agony that you would normally feel if you hadn't, consumed any cannabis. Then there's your hybrids. Your hybrids is kind of like a little bit of your sativa and a little bit of your indica. So it's you with that you get the best of both worlds, and especially if you're trying to be creative. So if I was working on a project, or if I was, trying to be creative with something, then that's when I'll pull out the bam. I'll pull out the hybrid or the sativa, depending on what, because some sativas may be a little bit stronger or less weaker, or they have a little of this in it and they have a little of that in it, but the indica I use at night to kind of help me wind down, relax, and then that's when you get the giggles.
Mm-hmm.
That's when you get the giggles, because everything just kind of seems so funny, and you just seem so just loose. Not loose like, hey, but it just gives you that feeling of freedom in your, just all over, in your head, in your body, your soul, everything. You just kind of feel free. All the things that you was worried about before you consume that cannabis, it's no longer exist once you consume it. It's like, it's not,
Yeah.
that's really not as important as I thought it was after all.
It does definitely take the edge off. Now we are almost nearing, I guess we've been on 21 minutes. It doesn't even seem like it. And I do honestly want to give you your platform to talk more about spoons, and also the um the situation at hand. Now, I know you said it's all wrapped up in the name of lupus, but it is so much more than that. And if you could shed light on what made you go and get checked out, was it something that was happening, or did they find it in your blood work? And if so, what are some things that you would tell the listeners to look out for? And also, you can pretty much, we'd love you to end it with uh, telling us more about your organization. And, last but not least, I need to know who your GOAT is, the greatest of all time musically. So I'm going to just let you have the floor with this
Oh
one.
my goodness. So now you got me really thinking. Because there's so many different artists out there that is like the all-time GOAT. Ah. So, I mean, are you speaking like old school, new school?
Well, that one wouldn't matter, but I kind of wanted you to get your if you however you want to do it, but I don't want people to leave without some type of information in your journey, your health journey, where they can find you, where's your platforms at, and then we go get into that greatest of all time. But if you want, however you want it, I'm gonna let you have the floor.
Well, you can find me on Instagram as Spoons for Life. It's spoons dot 420 dot life. Well, actually, that's my email address. It's spoons dot 420 dot life at gmail.com, and spoons for life Instagram. No underscores, just spoons, the number four, and life. Again, I am on Instagram. You can find me. Well, I haven't posted in a while, but I do have getting the information on there. Health information about lupus. Uh, it might be a few things on there that I might have shared about myself. I'm having a brain fog.
No,
But
you on one of
I
them strains.
usually
I don't know which one, but that's where you at. Okay.
I think right now I'm at that hybrid right now. I did, consume some cannabis earlier. Now it's like in my hybrid. But yeah, as far as how I got to or found out that I had lupus or whatever, I will say this is that if you can, stress is the biggest killer. It may not come out, you hear about people having heart attacks or strokes or something like that. That's what basically stress will do to you, point blank, period. Because throughout my journey of having lupus, that's all basically I've heard doctors tell me: you can't be stressed, you can't be stressed, you can't be stressed. So I read that, I said, well, why do they keep saying this? So I had to look this information up myself. And basically, before that time that I really got sick, I was, at a really stressful point in my life. I had moved, I had lost my job, my grandmother had passed away. So I had a lot of stuff going on, that I'm just like, oh my God, it's just so much at one time. And then one day I couldn't wake up. I mean, I could wake up, but my thing was I couldn't move. I was up, but it was like my body is like everything just was frozen, and if I tried to move, I was in excruciating pain. I'm like, this don't feel right. I didn't know if I could, if I was having a heart attack or a stroke or whatever. I don't know, but I wouldn't know what that felt like. However, I just knew that I couldn't move, and I know a lot of times when people have a stroke or if they have a heart attack, they're kind of paralyzed on one side, uh, of their body, to the point where they can't move. And that's basically how I felt. So I didn't know what was going on. So I went to the emergency room, and they were like, they couldn't believe that I was actually walking in the emergency room, because my vitals and everything was just, it was just crazy off the scale, and they were extremely low. So I'm thinking like, okay, they're gonna give me some medicine, or they send me home or whatever. Nah, that wasn't the case. I ended up staying in the hospital for about a week or so, while they ran all these tests, just to tell me that, that I have lupus. And not that, okay, well, you have lupus, and, we can do XYZ and give you this type of medicine. And, I'm thinking that it's something that could be fixed. But then again, I also realized that it can't be fixed, but it can go into remission, because my mom had lupus for so many years. I would say, if I had to guess, it'd probably be like almost like 30, 40 years now that my mom has had lupus. And she's, I've seen her struggle with it in the beginning, but as time went on, she eventually went into remission. So I do have hope that, one of these days that, my situation can go into remission.
I know as well. And this has been a wonderful interview. It's the best way to start off 2023.
I
Um,
know.
and honoring 420, because not only did the listeners get an education, a walk through your life, we also, just touched briefly about how, look, this shit's great if it's used correctly, and how Lisa chose to use it was to heal some parts of the physical pain. Some of us are healing it through emotional pain. It doesn't matter. It to me, it's all right. Okay, so people, please follow her on her platforms. If anyone else is dealing with this, I'm sure she would not mind, you contacting her. She already mentioned her email. This is where you can find her. We got Lisa on Put Your Phone Down podcast. We closing now. We almost at 30 minutes. You guys, do anything, be well to one another. Happy 420 to my 420 celebrators. And we'll get to your goat on the next podcast. This will be a part 2.
All right, cool. Well, thank you
Yeah,
so much for having me as a guest on your show. I
you are
enjoyed myself.
welcome.
And
You
I always enjoy talking to you. Oh my God, girl, you are the bomb.
ah,
The way we vibe is just like, oh my gosh, like my sister from another mother.
yes. I mean, we listen, y'all. Y'all gotta listen in on the phone at some point. But till then, y'all, phone down, and I hope you listening to this. Share it and like it. And I'm still looking for some guests, y'all. Come on through. Thank you for listening.